Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Unit Lost. I am Stylosa, and how random actually is Overwatch competitive? Well, I've put it to the test, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to magic myself off the screen right now. There you go. And you can check out some gameplay footage in the background. So this was the plan. Name change to Stylosa account. Reason for this is I didn't want to be known. I just want to be an unknown player in the game, right? I don't want people going, oh my god, is that Sty? And all of that. Reason number two, I don't want to use my microphone because as soon as I speak, they'll know who I am. But what I am going to do is join the voice chat and I'm going to listen to the calls and all of that good stuff. But then point number three, what I'm going to do is whatever the game tells me to do. Now, this is something I've done before in the past. And in fact, I've said to you guys, hey, try and flex, try and fill, right? So whatever the team comp would turn out to be, I'd think, all right, we need another support, we need a tank, we need an off tank. Very, very rarely, we need a DPS. In fact, throughout this entire run of about, it's probably like 9 or 10 games, I only played DPS once, and that was Soldier on Gibraltar. Absolutely owned, had 4 gold medals, easy, right? But that was the only time I got to play the hero that I actually wanted to play. Right? Now, I went from 3,750 SR on that account. It placed at 3,810, then lost 3 games, I think, immediately after that. 2 of the games were just throws. The 3rd game was pretty close, but a defeat. Unlucky. Went down to 3,750. From that, in one session, without losing a game, it went all the way up to 3,991. So, I'm sitting there making notes as this is going on. And I'm like, oh, wow. So actually, this is working. What I'm doing is I'm filling. I'm helping the team. If we need some sort of like, if we don't have a diva and maybe, I'll play the diva. If we don't have a support, like most of the time, I'll be honest, it's we didn't have a support or we didn't have a secondary support. So I would be playing Moira or Zen, which I don't mind. I like both of those heroes. So I'll play them. Although I would prefer to play Soldier, or I prefer to play like I'm having a bit of a Tracer addiction at the moment, and maybe a bit of Tracer, but I don't get to play those heroes because other people do. So I'm thinking, right, okay, surely this what's happening here is because I'm filling and we're building a good team, we're winning more games. But is that true? I don't think it is, right? In the past, I would have agreed with that statement. In fact, I remember a very long time ago, I made a video where I said, I got to GM in one day and I just played Soldier. I played my best hero, but then if I had to fill, I'd fill. It was great. But how much of that actually was me and how much of that was just random luck from the Overwatch matchmaker? In terms of, do we have a good team comp? In terms of what the hell are the enemy team doing? Do they have throwers? Yeah, we just don't know. And I honestly believe that after playing the game yesterday, and gaining that much SR in one session and getting close to like just getting that account to GM, which, let's be real, is just the goal for that account. It places high masters. Let's just get it into GM. I've got to fly to the US in a few days for Overwatch League, and then a very special thing which I can't talk about after that in April. So this is like my only chance before I get decay, because I can't play when I'm in my hotel because I'll have terrible internet. So I'm like, I've got to try and get through. So let's just become like almost, I hate to use this phrase, but like a slave to the system. And will the system actually give me what I want? And it almost did. I mean, right now I'm at 3,960. So I lost 2 games this morning after, just before I recorded this video. They were close games, but, they had their fair share of issues with teammates who were very toxic, teammates who were just sort of getting very, very angry. There was a Reinhardt on the Lijiang Tower that I played on who was just charging in after we lost the first engagement. He said something along the lines of, his accent was quite thick, sort of Eastern European. He was like, basically, I'm throwing, is what he said. And then he just kept charging in. I'm like, well, this is just, this is fun, isn't it? But I didn't get any of these guys when I went on this winning streak, right? And I was in teams that were... people were playing what they wanted to play apart from me. Now, I honestly expect there were other people in these games that were like on my team that were having to play heroes that they didn't want to play, or just heroes to try and fill. But the big question here is, how much of me just filling actually enabled the team to win? And are these actual wins that I want? And is this gauging my skill as a player? Well, the question is no, because you know what could have easily have happened? I could have gone on a 9 or 10 game losing streak because I had 9 or 10 games where we just had terrible players, people who wouldn't build team comps, people who wanted to throw, people who have got like, wanted to run crazy stuff like that. And I could easily have lost. So the reality of this situation is you get stuck with this game and you are very much at mercy at this game when you reach your natural skill level. which I think, honestly, hand over heart, my natural skill level without me sitting... Well, no, you know what? This is not... Even this isn't true. I reckon if I played Soldier non-stop in every single game, and I had a team comp that was built around me in every single game, I reckon I could get into probably mid-GM, right? I reckon I could probably stabilize around 4.3k, honestly. That you might think, Sty, you're crazy, but I know I don't agree with that. I think that's what I could do. The thing is, that's not a reality, and I'm never going to be able to do that, right? Because even if I lock in the Soldier right now in every game, there'll be a lot of games where we'll have triple DPS, which might not be the best idea. We might not even have supports, we might not have tanks, there might be other people that wanted to play Soldier. So you come across all these issues. So actually, you're not in 9 or 10 games in a row where you've got a good team that's built with a tank, an off-tank, a primary support, flex support, and then like a couple of DPS, like let's say a flanker, then a Soldier DPS or something. You don't get to see that because the game doesn't allow that, because it's very rare you're going to be able to play that hero without any kind of or with your team compromising to meet your demands. So with me taking the opposite approach and going, look, when I get to play Soldier, it's like Christmas. Wow, this is great. You know, it's almost laughable, isn't it, really? Like, I'm waiting for the game to allow me to play a hero I'd like to play. But if it doesn't, then I just sort of play what's needed and just hope the people on my team are better than the enemy team. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of things you can do in an Overwatch game to increase your chance of winning. You can play your hero well for a start. Like if you're playing Winston, you're not just going to dive in and feed your brains out. You're probably going to, take your time. And again, this is the other element to this argument. It's all right me sitting here going, oh, well, it's just random. It's just, look, just keep playing games and you could win loads or you might lose loads. Who knows? You still need to have a decent amount of skill to get to a decent level. You can't be like a gold player and expect to get all the way up to master overnight. That's probably not going to happen because you're probably going to make a lot of mistakes. But when you come at it from the perspective of somebody who, I guess, understands the majority of the game, understands tactics and team comps, I feel like I am not really getting a fair representation of my individual skill when I play this game, because obviously that's an impossibility, right? Because it depends on the 5 other people on your team and what they want to play and what they want to do. At no point is this game about you, really. You can make it about you. You can be like, I'm just going to lock in this hero every game. And then you just hope that the 5 other people on your team build around you, right? Which, honestly, from experience where I've just locked in whatever I wanted to play, that's never really been the case. Yes, sometimes it might work, but most of the time it'll cause friction. And then that causes a defeat. And all of these issues, right? Guess what solves them, ladies and gentlemen? You know what solves them. I know what solves them. It's a goddamn role select thing or a preferred hero queue or something where you are building a team before you get into a bloody game. This game is too random, and that is what's killing the excitement, I think, for most people. I want to sit down and I want to play Overwatch. I want to play certain heroes. I want to have fun. I go into a game, I realise on my team, okay, we've got a guy who plays Soldier, we've got a guy who plays Winston and Reinhardt or whatever. So, all right, the main tank slot and one of the DPS slots are gone. So let me look at a support now, because I guess we need a Zen. I like playing Zen, so that's not too bad for me. But maybe that wasn't my intention. Maybe my intention wasn't to go into the game and play Zen. Maybe it was to go and play Soldier, but then because I was the guy who sort of bent to the needs of his team, and then maybe our team win, then that makes me think, flexing is the key to winning this game. And I was naive enough in the past to think that. So what are some takeaways from this? I think the first takeaway is, if you play heroes to a good level and you kind of know what you're doing, you will, on average, win more games than you lose, you would think. However, there are some major, factors which can affect this, and they can affect it in such a horrifically negative way that even if you're playing extremely well, you still lose over and over and over again. Now, of course, these are things like toxic players. They're things like players unwilling to change. They're players that, seemingly don't want to play as a team, which is crazy. There's a lot of issues that you get. There are players that tilt because they, think something should have happened in a fight and it didn't. A lot of these issues, or the enemy team have got a better team comp than you, which is generally the main problem. But as I say, a lot of these issues are things which I can't really see them getting fixed anytime soon. I still enjoy playing this game competitively, but I'm just at the point where I think right now I understand it is very random. Like, you guys know Josh, right? So Josh takes part in some of the videos on the channel. Josh, I think, is stuck And I use the phrase fairly lightly, but he's stuck around like master, like low master, high diamond, I think. Why is that the case? Like, I know he's as good as me. Like, he should be at my level or above, but he isn't. Like, what's going on there? Like, is he getting unlucky with teams? If you watch Josh's gameplay, you're like, well, this guy's pretty good. Hell, if you watch the gameplay from the Tracer, from the Overanalyze, which I made last weekend, that Tracer is actually quite a good player. Yet it's in gold. I couldn't believe it was in gold. It's like, hey, that player looks like it's got fairly similar accuracy to me, to be honest. How can I be at the level I'm at and this guy being gold? It's just so frustrating. I think at the end of the day, what's going to fix this game's competitive and allow us to play together, like you know what, this is, I can just imagine all the arguments coming back at me with this, where it's just like, well, Sty, you can play as a 6-stack if you like, and while that is true, if you 6-stack on the ladder in its current dynamic queue, you're going to go against players who are a much better skill level than you, and you're 6-stack. Now, on paper, if your 6-stack's properly coordinated, it should probably win, right? But you're going to go against players that are much better. It's going to take you ages to find the game. Right now, probably the most efficient way is duo queue or maybe triple queue, right? And then hope that the players you get on your team are not going to be people who want to play heroes that you want to play, or your teammates want to play. And that's basically the end of the tale, I think, to be honest, with competitive, until something drastically changes. Now, I want you guys to go crazy in the comments below. But one thing I have learned from this sort of Lazine experiment, which I've done, is it is random. You go into the game, there are things you can do to affect the win, but you are at the mercy of the matchmaker giving you players that want to build a team. Like, it's not necessarily players that play heroes that can build a team. It's players that want to build a team. And there are lots of issues with the ladder. Like, maybe the Genji player on your team, maybe the previous game he was in, he failed and he tried to be like support, and he was playing Lucio, and his team got rolled, and he didn't like the way the Genji was playing. So he's like, hey, this game, screw it, I'm just going to lock in Genji, and there's nothing you can do about it, because I'm not losing again, because I just lost the last game. You see where this goes? It's like a vicious cycle. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know about your recent competitive experiences. Mine are, on the whole, they're decent, but you get days like yesterday where it was just a complete, like, a lot of wins. Days like today where I've had 2 defeats. I am going to go back and play a little bit more competitive after recording this video to see what happens. But hopefully, I get a decent team. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Stylosa, and this is Lost. If you enjoyed the video, then like the video. You can subscribe to the channel, and you can follow me on Twitter, which is @YouLostGaming. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Toodaloo.